Emma Watson is being labeled as a hypocrite after her photo shoot with Vanity Fair, where she bared a little bit of chest action. You don't see any nipple action, but you certainly do see a lot of cleavage and under boob. And since she considers herself a feminist, people believe that she actually went against what it means to be a feminist by showing off her body in a sexual way. Now, while she was on the red carpet promoting Beauty and the Beast, Watson said her critics were distorting what it means to be a feminist. She says feminism is about giving women choice. Feminism is not a stick with which to beat other women with. It's about freedom, it's about liberation, it's about equality. I really don't know what my tits have to do with it. It's very confusing. Okay, so I agree with that statement, but it is interesting because she was singing a different tune back in 2014 when she was interviewed by Wonderland magazine, and she was asked about her thoughts regarding Beyoncé and some of her music videos. And she seemed a little more judgmental in that case. She said, as I was watching the videos, I felt very conflicted. I felt her message felt very conflicted in the sense that on the one hand, she is putting herself in a category of feminist, but then the camera, it felt very male, such a male voyeuristic experience of her. Okay.
Drums.
So very quickly, and by the way, she got a lot of criticism for, I don't know if it's flip-flopping, but seeming like a hypocrite on that issue. And so let's go back to her picture, and I just wanna note that even though I don't think there's anything wrong with it, it would be ridiculous to say that this is not a male voyeuristic experience of her.
Yeah.
It's a sexy photo. I mean, women aren't gonna look at that and be like, damn, those tits. But men are, right? Like, so, and there's nothing wrong with that. If she feels artistic, she feels beautiful, she wants to express herself that way, it's totally fine, but there is a voyeuristic nature to that photo. So you can't say negative things about Beyonce while simultaneously doing the same thing and saying, I'm a feminist.
So she stirred up a bit of a Beyhive there.
Yes, the Beyhive was a buzzin', and so they criticized her for it.
So let me ask you about it first as in regards to fashion. And you care about fashion, so do you look at that and go, oh, that's an interesting top, and I'm fascinated by it, and like, oh, I guess there was an underboob there.
I don't want to get into a debate about fashion and whether or not it's stupid, because I know you think fashion's stupid.
No, that's not where I was going with it.
Okay.
Like, I'm saying, is it a strictly male point of view, or are some women looking at that and going, oh, I admire that fashion, or I find that an interesting fashion statement?
Well, it depends.
Do you see what I'm saying?
It depends on the women. I don't think women look at that photo for the fashion, because that's more couture, that's more something that you wouldn't really wear out on the streets. It's just the artistic nature of the photo. It adds to the artistic nature of the photo. I think some women, like myself, would look at that and be like, okay, she's beautiful, she's strong. I look at that picture and I see strength. Right?
Oh, okay,
so,
see, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And that's a female point of view.
I see strength because there's something fierce about her, even though there's a lot of femininity there. There's a lot of purity with the white. So like, it's just like art, where people have different interpretations.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I do think that this brings up an interesting conversation about whether you can consider yourself a feminist while, putting yourself out there in a sexual way. And whether or not it does detract or at least take away from your credibility, because that's another argument that some feminists actually do believe. I disagree with it, but some feminists think, you are less credible or you're distracting people from your real accomplishments by putting yourself out there in a sexual way.
Yeah, look, I think there's nothing wrong with the picture. I get it that she was a hypocrite with Beyonce. But sometimes people are hypocrites, I pardon you. It's an immediate blanket pardon, I don't know if it's justified, but there I did it. For the feminists who don't like the sexualizing, well, that's like your opinion, man or woman. And so you get to have different brands of feminists. And so the people who are the policing that, including, ironically, Emma Watson, when she was doing it to Beyonce,
right,
I think are wrong and judgmental, but that's my opinion of it. And so you could say, hey, who are you to judge my feminist inclinations, etc. And at the end, we could all judge each other, or sometimes you could take a picture and still have ideas that women should be equal.
Yeah, so I'm going to out another hypocrite on this issue because I think it's important, and that's me. So I'm a hypocrite on this issue because, look, I totally agree that women should have the choice and they should be able to express themselves even if that means revealing parts of their bodies or whatever it is, right? If they're comfortable doing it and that's what they want to do, they should be able to without it taking away from their accomplishments or how serious they are as a person and all that, right? But at the same time, I would be lying if I said that I don't have these moments where I judge the credibility of someone if they're putting themselves out there sexually all the time. You know, and it's a conscious decision that I've even made with my social media posts. Like, I don't post racy photos of myself, and it's because I think it will distract from my career. But that's a mind frame, or at least a mindset that needs to change. We don't need to reform the way women present themselves. We need to reform the way we think of women who present themselves that way, right? So it's a flaw that I have, and it's something that I work on consciously. But it is what it is. Like, it's just ingrained in us, and I think it's a societal thing.
You know what? I'm going to get past that for myself as well. I'm going to post a picture on Instagram of me in a Speedo and just let it be, okay? It is what it is, and I can still be for everybody's rights and still show off my body. Okay, trust me that will not happen. Nor is anyone interested in it. Okay, no, in all seriousness, the thing that I don't like is judging. And so I didn't like it when Emma Watson was judging Beyonce. I don't like it when other feminists are judging Emma Watson. Just let it go. Everything's gonna be okay. And to me, if, you know, look, Megyn Kelly did that racy.
I love that you brought that up because I was gonna out you, but I'm glad you outed yourself. Megyn Kelly did that photo shoot. You were a little judgy.
Was I?
Yeah,
if I was, okay, fine. Put me in the hypocrite category too. But looking back on it, I'm like, so what? So she wanted to have a little bit of fun, and she did a slightly racy photo shoot. So what? To me, the much more important problem with Fox News is that they force their female anchors to wear skirts. They are not allowed to wear pants. We know that now because of the mole that was inside Fox News and corroborated by other stories that also came out during the Roger Ailes controversy. And so they purposely sexualize their women. And so, for example, I mean, you want to talk about a male point of view. The show Outnumbered, think about it. It's 4 women and a guy in the middle. They all have to wear skirts and show off their legs. And then they call it Outnumbered. From the male point of view. If you're a female, you're not outnumbered. You're appropriately numbered, right? So there is such a thing as sexualizing in an inappropriate way. I just don't think this is it because it's her choice. She's choosing.
That's exactly right. It's inappropriate when it's not up to the woman to decide. If you're forced to wear a short skirt to keep your job, well then that's not a choice.
Yeah. And so finally, let's get to the most important part of this issue, which is that I accurately predicted about a decade ago that the underboob would become a thing, and here it is. And sometimes I get the timing a little off, I'll admit it, okay? I'll out myself on that. But at the end of the day, I'm always right. Told you, underboob, it's a thing. Corporate media is awesome.
Wrong.
Independent media is the way to go.
Believe me, believe me.
Support independent media right now. Become a Young Turks member, tytnetwork.com/join.